All right, guys, we're just going with the screen tonight and not the camera as well because I have a lot going on. I don't want you to be distracted or anything. So, first of all, I didn't get most of your homeworks back to you today. I apologize for that. I got really backed up with some other stuff. So hopefully tomorrow morning when I post the answer key and in the afternoon when we have our Zoom session, that will help answer all the questions because I'm not going to be able to get back to everybody and give feedback tonight. It's pretty late already. Just a lot to do today for all this online learning stuff. I'm sure you guys are, swamped as well. So hopefully things are under control. Email your teachers, your counselors if you're feeling like there's too much put on you. Be honest with them. I think your teachers will be pretty receptive to everything. So I'm sorry about that. But tomorrow we'll go over that stuff and hopefully you'll feel better about it. For those of you who didn't see the message, I'm going to open up this announcement. It's going to post tomorrow morning, but I'll open it up now. The Zoom meeting is not going to be at 9:30 tomorrow morning. We were asked to only have the live sessions when your class would normally be held. So we are going to have our double class overlap at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully you guys can make it. If not, I will post the recording of that meeting online like I usually do. So hopefully if you guys have big questions in the homework, you'll come in tomorrow at 12:30 to our chat and I'll talk to you then about that. All right. Class work. Our last kind of big assignment before spring break, which is weird, is this day 3 modeling with periodic sine and cosine, which are also called sinusoidal functions. Actually, the other thing real quick that'll go live is our day 2 homework key and Zoom meeting. So if you see that there, that's the other link that's going to go tomorrow morning. All right, let me open this thing up. That's not what I wanted. So you're not going to have anything due Tuesday. This assignment isn't going to be due until Thursday next week. It's, a couple things I want you to make sure we're being very careful of, and I want to actually share our work with the class. So I want to give you time to make it nice. Try to make it neat, make it as big as you can. When you're uploading these pictures, some of you have kind of taken really tiny screenshots. Do your best. Try to, let me say it again. There's a good app called Adobe Scan. So if you want to download that on your phone, that's a really good way to get these up online, give them good clarity. I'll be able to zoom in on them because I do want to have kind of an interactive gallery walk where you guys can all look at each other's assignments, which I'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, try to take as high quality photo as you can that you're able to at this point. All right, so you guys can read through all this tomorrow. I'll quickly go through what I have on the paper here. I will also go over a little bit of some notes that might help you. So in order, the video is going to be at the top that you're watching now. I have a blank packet. We're going to do a couple examples of this out in a minute. I have the notes that I did last year. That's going to look a lot like what we're going to do in a minute. Obviously, this homework isn't changed. Obviously, you don't have a quiz next class, so do not do that homework. 4, 5, 8, and 9 is not the homework. Actually, I'll see if I can take that off for tomorrow so no one's confused. Anyway, there's the notes we're going to look at. Here's the entire answer key for this packet. So if you do want some extra practice, you can work through this. The answer key's there. But this is not your homework. This packet is not your homework. Okay, hopefully that's clear. Continuing down, there is a Desmos activity that I'd like you to try out and play around with. It kind of introduces you into the activity that I'm going to assign you. So if you do want to mess around with the Desmos activity, it's not going to be anything I'm going to check, but it might give you a good place to start for your assignment. Here is your assignment, and I'll show you where to get this data from in a minute. It's going to be a little harder. They took down the website. They're doing some work on the website I wanted to use, so we're going to have to be a little creative. But your task is to analyze the amount of daylight, hours of daylight, for a city of your choosing over the course of a year. So you can get creative. You can use Syracuse if you want. You can pick any city you want in the world. You're going to graph your data and write the equation of your graph using the skills we've learned over the last week. So we're going to be graphing, not a surprise, it's going to turn into a sine or a cosine curve. Ask me for help throughout the week. You're going to present this, have a presentation for your class, so I want you to feel comfortable with it. Upload a nice picture, and then it gives you some specifications for the graph, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. All right, so that's a little area to record some data. I ask you a question, what you notice about the period of your graph. The second page, you're not going to be able to answer until we get a look at everybody's graph. So you don't have to go down here and make stuff up. This note sheet is mainly just for you. I think you're going to have to make a copy of it because I don't think you're going to have access to edit this one. So make a copy and just save this to your own Google Drive. But once we start looking at everyone's, there's going to be some really, really cool things that happen with the amplitude and with the vertical shift or midline of these graphs. So I think you'll find that really, really interesting. So there's your assignment. All right. How are you going to get this data? The sunrise, sunset, and total hours of daylight. It's going to be a little more work than it usually is because that site is down, like I mentioned. But I linked here to you. This is a website that has tons of data about sunrise and sunset, really for anywhere in the world. So it's going to default to Chicago for whatever reason. I'm not even going to move it. You guys can drag this red pin anywhere you want. I'll leave it right here. Don't mess with anything down here. It gives you the latitude and longitude. The latitude is going to be pretty important when we get to our activity. Don't mess with any of this stuff. I don't think it matters. What I do want you to click on is the table. So you're going to create a sunrise sunset table for the year. So it's going to be a lot of data. It's going to be a little overwhelming. I found it's easier to look at on a PDF format. So I'm going to click here and open up my PDF. All right, so if you guys need to rewind this and watch my steps again later, that's what this video is for. So unfortunately, it doesn't just give us the total hours of daylight in Chicago over the course of a day. And I kind of glossed over this, but I'll start our graphs, starting our tables with month 0 being December 21st. So you're not going to plot 365 days of the year. We're just going to take it month by month. And the reason I picked the 21st is because that's the solstice. That's the shortest day of the year. All right. So we're going to go all the way around. We're going to do 1 calendar year. You're going to have 12 data points, or I guess 13 data points. So what you're going to have to do, this first is the sunrise portion of our table. I'm going to go down to December 21st. And I'm going to look at the sunrise right here, which is 7:44. So I'm going to record that on my table. I'm going to look at sunset for December 21st. My sunset for December 21st is 16 hours 58 minutes. So that's obviously 24-hour time. So we're gonna subtract the difference. We're gonna find how many hours of daylight there were from 7, whatever the time was, to 16 hours and 58 minutes. So we're gonna have sunrise. We're gonna have sunset. You're gonna subtract the two, and you're gonna use that data point for the y-axis of your graph. So the x-axis will be number of months since December 21st. That way, it works out nicely that January is 1, February is 2. Those are the numbers we're familiar with. Your y-axis is going to be the number of hours of daylight for that day. All right, then we'll do January 21st. So the sunrise on January 21st was 7:42, and the sunset on January 21st at 5:26. Or you can even use that 17. Just subtract. Find the total hours of daylight. You're going to use this table. You're going to draw a really nice, neat, accurate graph. Hopefully everybody has graph paper at this point. I guess if you want, you could use Desmos to your advantage. If you want to do an equation, you'll have to still write your own equation, but you could use that to do the graph so everybody can see it really clearly. So I'll let that be up to you. If you want to use software to graph it, you can, but your job is to graph your data and, more importantly, write the equation, right, the function that represents your data. So using the skills that we did last lesson. Okay, and if there's anything you guys have questions on, if that was too vague, let me know and I can explain it to you individually, or I can send another video out if that's not clear. Okay, so on to our notes. So this is in that packet I gave you. If you have it printed up, great. If not, you can kind of just roughly do this. I'm going to pause and let you guys just do this one on your own. There's a couple interesting things that happen now that we get into kind of some real life modeling stuff. The big difference is if you look at the frequency, this pi over 6, most of the questions we've done, or actually all the questions we've done, didn't have a pi there. It was just the frequency was just 2 or 4 or 1 or 2/3 or whatever. Here there's that pi in the frequency. So I'm going to pause. If you want to take a couple minutes to graph this, you can. If not, I'm just going to show you my answer in a second so you can see the big difference here. And then we'll go on to one that's a little more challenging. So I'm going to pause now and then you can catch up with me.